Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Option Forward. Welcome to our show. I'm your boy, Drew. I'm always joined by my co-host, the other half of the show, GQ Nesto. How you doing today?
Ready. Definitely happy to be back out here. SoCal. Let's get it.
All right. Home sweet home, right? Now it's home.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. Now
San Diego.
Yeah, now you're claiming SoCal.
Okay.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special treat today. Upon doing some studying and some research, I was impressed, right? So, come across those people in your life or those moments in your life where you say, you know what, I can do this, or this is so interesting, I want to try this, and I'm inspired, right? Well, I have that inspiration for myself today. We have Miss Gabriella Whiting, and she's amazing. She's actress, dancer, singer, you name it all. She can do it. So how you doing today, Miss Gabriella?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So where are you from? Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from upstate New York, a really small town called Skaneateles, New York, pretty much the middle of nowhere. I grew up there and graduated high school when I was 17 years old and immediately knew that I wanted to leave upstate New York because a lot of people don't realize that New York is not just New York City. And once you start going further up, it becomes the deep South very fast. So I moved to New York City when I was 17 and I did 2 semesters at CUNY Manhattan. And I ended up booking a show on a cruise ship. And so I did Legally Blonde, the musical, on Norwegian Cruise Lines when I was like 19 years old. It was super fun. And that's kind of how I got my start and got my foot in the door with professional theater. In that sense. I grew up dancing, taking dance class since I've been in classes since I was like 3 years old. And I always did all the musicals and plays and stuff in school. And I really caught that bug early on. And I don't think I realized that it's something that you could kind of do as a career until I was in high school and I was really decided like, okay, this is the path I want to go down because it was always a passion of mine. And there was never any other career that I was like, oh, I think I could be a veterinarian or I could be a doctor. It was always like, this is what I want to do. So that was where I grew up. And also the town I grew up in was very Caucasian. I was like the only person of color and I'm on the lighter side. So me being the darkest person in the town is saying something, but I always felt like an outsider in that sense. And it was when I moved to New York City, it kind of felt like I finally fit in somewhere because it was such a melting pot of like all different cultures. So that was also a really cool experience as well.
Okay, so like in comparisons, right? So you're comparing New York City. You had that experience. Now you're in Los Angeles. What's the difference? Compare and contrast. Please let us know.
Oh God, it's like comparing like an apple and a stapler.
Wow.
They're totally different. The vibe is I personally prefer LA to New York City. The vibe in LA is way more chill. If that probably sounds really cliche. But it's way more chill. You're able to, if you drive 20 minutes, you can be in the mountains or you can be in the beach. Whereas New York City, you'll be in the Bronx in 20 minutes on the train. But for me personally, in New York City, it was hard to catch your breath or take a minute to just like even think about your thoughts. So mentally, it was really, really heavy on me because it's constantly go, 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 work, work, work. What are you doing next? Everyone's like miserable all the time. Whereas here, it's more chill. Like I know who I am more as a person now as well. So it's nice to be able to like have a home and have a car and drive and be able to live that life, but then also have the city life. So that's why I like LA better. Some people love New York better. I prefer LA.
Okay. GQ Nesto?
That's elaborate a little bit about the stapler and the
stapler and the apple.
Yeah.
Because so if New York's the apple, the Big Apple, it's great. Like there's things in New York that you can't get here. Like it's way more condensed. You could get, a bodega sandwich at 3 a.m. and be totally fine. And they're just totally different beasts. LA is way more spread out. It's just a totally different vibe. Like New York almost feels like when you're in college, like it almost feels like a big like campus. Whereas here it actually feels like, okay, this is real life. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. So the performing arts bug, right? So I believe you started dance class at 3.
3, yeah.
All right. So how was, you decided at a very early age or early stage of your life that this is what you want to do, right? So how is the family supporting that? You know what I'm saying? Where they like, you know what, go girl, you go get this. You know what I'm saying? Or they was like, you sure you don't want to be a veterinarian? Like, so how's the support?
Yeah, so I grew up with my mom raised me as a single mom, and she's always been so supportive. And looking back, I am so grateful for her, and I wish I was more grateful at the time or realized how much she worked like 3 different jobs just to be able to like put me through dance class and pay for all of those things. So she's always been so supportive, and even the times when I was in New York City and I was like, I'm over this. Like, I just want to work like a corporate job and just make a ton of money, whatever the case may be. She was like, no, like you should really you should do that. She's really supportive of everything I do. Yeah. And I think that's been really helpful as well, because I haven't really had a discouraging thought from her regarding the arts at all, which I know I'm very privileged to experience, because a lot of kids don't get any of that support, and it's really, really, really hard.
So question, like, is she really supportive about the art? Because like when you were like a baby, you were like a little dramatic, or what was it? Like,
it was probably that I always had like was dancing in front of a camera, or like with like the literally video recorders when it was like
you love the spotlight. You love the spotlight.
Yeah, no, I would take
it.
Yeah, whether like I have video when I was like 2, 3, I was always in front of the camera doing stuff, making up little like skits and singing, and it was just like she knew it. She knew it.
She was like flashing lights. That's all there is.
Yeah, and even when I like the dance studio I started out in when I was 3, I remember her saying like, this isn't the caliber you should be in, and she was like finding like one that was like a better dance school. So yeah, I think she just saw what I had a passion in, and she was like, yeah, like you should do. She's a very cool mom. Like it's a very cool mom.
Is she back home, or did she transition out here to Los Angeles with you?
No, she's back home. She's a health teacher, and she's still in Skinny Atlas, New York, and that's where she grew up as well. So she traveled a bit when she was in her like 20s and stuff, but wound up back in Skinny Atlas.
Have you tried to convince her to come out here and kind of scope it out and see maybe she can transition?
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna retire in a few years, so I think she's looking at like Sarasota, Florida, because she lived there for a bit, somewhere warm. She wants to be somewhere.
I was gonna say, why does everybody want to go to Florida?
I don't know. I didn't like Florida.
Florida's crazy. Florida, right? Everything going on in Florida is nuts. I would not want to live in Florida. But yeah, no, she has
got big bugs. I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
Big bugs and lizards and stuff, like nasty, and the water quality is not great. I think I could totally see her in like Malibu or San Diego or somewhere like that. Yeah,
but you got to get her there.
I know. I have to do some convincing for sure.
For sure. So I know you're a triple threat. We got the dancing, we got the singing, right? We got that. What do you prefer? Is there one that you like over the other?
I think acting would definitely be at the bottom of my list.
Oh no, you didn't.
I know. It's scary for me because it's the scariest. It's like acting for me is the one where you have to be the most vulnerable and be yourself. Whereas singing, it's like, okay, you're giving me a song and I'm gonna sing the notes. Dancing, you're giving me choreography and I'm gonna do the choreography. Whereas acting, you're giving me the lines, but I like have to do the emotions and I have to create all of the.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It's scary. I don't like doing that. So it's something I need to get better at, just feeling like more comfortable doing. But between singing and dancing, I would probably say singing is the top one. Yeah.
Number one.
Do
you write your own music?
I do. I used to actually write a lot when I was younger. And then I was just super busy doing a lot of like theater stuff and traveling. But now I'm getting back into it and it's really enjoyable actually. Yeah.
I don't even, what genre of music would you fall into if we had to put you in a category?
If you had to put me in a category, I would probably say like jazz, R&B.
Okay.
That-ish.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Okay, relaxing, chilling on the Sunday.
The passion is real, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel with all of the training that you have received or underwent, do you think it's important for someone who's interested in this as a career to go through that type of training, the dancing, the singing, the acting? Do you have to have those courses, or if you got it, you got it? What is your opinion?
I think there's pros and cons to both. I think that if you're very new, if you haven't had any training at all, I think it would definitely be beneficial to like take a voice lesson, take some dance classes, especially if you want to pursue it professionally. I don't necessarily think that you have to pay $50,000 a year to go to a private university to get these degrees, because in retrospect, no one's ever asked me for my degree, my BFA in musical theater. I don't have one, but like that's just not a thing that happens. Right. So if you have it, yes, like I think you have it. I think that there are times where it would definitely be beneficial to like I also still take class. Like, I think you should always be trying to like grow as an artist and work on your craft.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think that it's pertinent to take all of these classes all the time. I don't think people should be discouraged by that, because it is a costly career. Like, it does cost money to take these classes, to get headshots, all of that stuff costs money.
Right.
But I'm not saying like I'm a perfect example of this, but I have a lot of friends in musical theater that didn't finish college, that didn't go to college, that are on Broadway, that have great careers in this, just because it's not something that you don't need a doctorate to pursue it or to do it. So I think it really depends on the person, and it's different case to case. But I think taking classes in general is always great, because you can always learn and grow and experience more.
Okay. So as a helicopter parent, right? You know what I'm saying? You're concerned about your kids. You want them to be in a career that's going to provide for them, and if they want to have a family in the future. You actually being involved and experienced in it right now, is this something that you would recommend for, like, you know what I'm saying, baby girl, you're going to go out here and you're going to do this and your future is set?
Oh, no. I think it's definitely like,
do you need an option B?
I think you should have an option B. I don't. So like me, it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. But I think it would be like, if I had a child right now, I would say, okay, great, pursue that. But also like, let's maybe get a degree in like business or something, because that's also a big part of it. Like, when you're a performer, you are your own business. Like, you are your own. So I think that if you want to do anything else, then you shouldn't pursue this as a career. Like, if you're like, oh, well, I kind of want to be a nurse too, go do that, because you 100% have to be fully committed to doing this, or else you're probably not gonna make it, just because you have to be it has to be your sole focus. So that's what I would say.
So bam, you say focus, right?
Yes.
Okay, so focus. When I know there probably has been times where you was like, you know what, you call your mom, you're like, Mama, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to come back home. Things aren't working out the way I want them to. What keeps you going? What motivates you? What is your inspiration? Or in those tough days, who do you call upon? You know, so start off with number one. What's the motivation? What's the inspiration?
I think the motivation and inspiration for me is trying to, I guess, bring joy to people and like spread my talent, but also like, whether I'm in a theater show or a show that's already written, or whether I'm like creating content on TikTok, just spreading like my gifts, so to speak, or just bringing people joy. When people go to the theater, they want to like escape reality for a little bit. Just being able to provide like happiness to people, or some sort of enjoyment or education, or whatever that may be. That's what keeps me going. But it does get hard. It gets discouraging for sure.
Okay. So and when you're taking on these different roles, like, cause I did some little bit of theater myself, right? So I always found joy. One, I get to escape myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to come out of my shell. I get to be this totally different person, this totally different character. Maybe someone that resembled me, but wasn't necessarily me. And then, like you said, on the other end of the spectrum is people laughing and finding joy in what you do. That was always like very important to me. And is that something, you know what I'm saying, that also keeps you going? Like, how somebody, like that moment where somebody walked up after one of your performances and just was like, you know what, you touched my heart today.
Yeah, that's the other huge part of it, is a lot of times it's not even necessarily about like getting to perform on stage. It's the responses afterwards. I have so many girls, like I remember the first message I got that was like, "You're my idol." And I was like, "What? Like, what do you mean?" Yeah, it's those sorts of things. Or like a lot of kids back home where I grew up that are experiencing similar like bullying things that I had to deal with for being mixed race and just not white, essentially.
It's beautiful, though.
It is. And now like those kids come to me and try and like ask just for like advice and sort of mentor things. And yeah, that's definitely what keeps me going, is like the kids that are like, you inspire me, or like you're my idol, or you just that sort of interaction is it's very gratifying. And also like, okay, like it's more than just like me being egotistical or whatever. I'm actually helping. It feels like I'm helping other people, which is always nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this nervousness. All right. Do you even, okay. So think it back. First time on the stage, right? You knew your mom thought, you know, you had her support. You was like, yo, mom, I can do this. But it's actually different when it's like lights, camera, action, and you up there and you center of attention. On your first performance, were you nervous, or how did you get over that, overcome those nerves, if that is something that you experienced?
Yeah, I mean, I still get nervous going on stage. I think because it's a totally different kind of experience. Like when you probably know, like when you step on stage, it's like you can't. I focus more so on, they tell you to like look at like the back of not looking directly at the audience because that'll freak you out. Yeah, right. Yeah. Just like pick a spot. So it's kind of like it's kind of like the rest of the world kind of disappears, and I kind of try and picture it like that.
You're invisible. You're invisible.
Yeah, and like sort of like that. So it's more so like me performing to like my mirror or something like that. So I don't think about however many people are in the audience, and I definitely get more nervous when I know someone who's in the audience opposed to just a bunch of.
What are they gonna say?
Yeah. And it's like, it's more personal opposed to like just a bunch of random people that, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely, I always get nervous, but it's hard. It's hard to get over. But I think normally it's after the first like few minutes, like after you step out on stage and you're like, okay, like I can like breathe for a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So as a dancer, right, what would be your dream job?
Ooh, my dream job as a dancer, it would be to be a choreographer of some sort.
Who would be your number one client?
Oh my gosh.
And why?
I would love to choreograph for Normani.
Why?
Did you know? I was like, you don't know who Normani is? Yeah. She, just the way she moves, or like Doja Cat as well. Like they have such, like they put on performances every time, which is what I appreciate. Like it's like a full show, and I just think that they're the way they move and their style is very similar to mine, and I like what they both represent as well, and I love them as both performers. So I think that would be like a dream to choreograph for either of those two.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kiki, next up, anything?
So let me ask you this: with being in LA, obviously coming from East Coast to LA, the hell of a town, if you could say that, like so much, I don't know, tempting things, and not only that, but you coming out here being a woman, okay? Let's talk about that. Let's see how that, like, we kind of want to know exactly the experiences and stuff like that, because you see a lot of people coming from all over the United States or all over the world coming to just specifically LA, right? And obviously, we all have a dream, and I think that sometimes coming out here, it might be your demise. So it's
yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think New York was a great prep for that, because if I had come to LA from small town, Skinny Atlas, middle of nowhere, it would have been like a big shock. But yeah, it's a lot, especially being a woman. There's a lot of just crime that happens here in general. Right. And like, even I was walking down a street in Sherman Oaks on Ventura, which is like the main street in this bougie little neighborhood. And this guy just started like screaming at me, calling me like derogatory terms and all this stuff. And it was just like things like, yeah. And like,
why did he do that?
Because I was wearing shorts. It was something about my outfit. I had on like a tank top and shorts, and he didn't like that. But that's like,
did you have your taser?
No, I literally had like bags full of like groceries and stuff. I was like, what? Like this man was in his
summertime.
It was hot out. Yeah, it was warm.
So you were appropriately dressed.
I was appropriate. It was so out of cuff, and it kind of like took me aback, because I experienced that stuff in New York, but not to the extent where I was good with having my headphones in New York, because you'll get just crazy stuff all the time. Like, and that's just to be expected in New York. But here it's a little more, I guess, off cuff, because either you're in your car a lot, but it's also, it's like people that you wouldn't expect. In New York, a lot of times it's people that you can clearly kind of see are mentally a little bit unstable or whatever, whereas this man looked like a grown normal, which doesn't necessarily mean, you never know what someone's dealing with mentally, but I was like, it was a lot, and it's overwhelming. But especially just there's a lot of like robberies and stuff happening now in LA, and it's just constantly having to be aware of your surroundings as a woman on top of everything else. But then there's also the side of the glamour sort of side of LA, where I could totally see if you are an insecure person getting sucked into that would totally be your demise, because everyone here, for the most part, everyone's gorgeous here and has either like, especially a lot of the women, like a face full of filler, which is totally fine if that's your which is totally fine if that's your
if that's your thing,
if that's what you want to do,
if that's what you want to do. But for a random, a girl coming from a random place that's just trying to, just start her dream, I could see that be really intimidating. If
I
you're
gotta
not,
look like them.
yeah, I have to look like them, or this is what I have to do to make it, when I don't think that's what you have to do. I think that you can be totally natural and make it. I think that if you want to get plastic surgery or whatever, fine, like cool, that's good for you. But I could see that because that is what's in media so much with like the Kardashians and everything, that's almost the model of what a lot of girls think that they should look like. So it's really intimidating, and also kind of like it gets down on you. I could see. I mean, I get like that too, and I consider myself
like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I consider myself a pretty confident person. But it does, especially with social media, it gets to you when you just keep seeing like all these people don't even look like what their pictures look like, because they're so
not.
yeah. So it's like
what happened?
Right, exactly. So it's, for me, it's kind of always been a thing, whether it was like 2003 seeing Paris Hilton super skinny on like the cover of something, and now it's like this hourglass figure or whatever that's super in. I just have to remember that that these people don't even look like that, that's a lot of editing, and that I don't want to look like that. Like, I don't want to look like someone else, or I want to be myself, and I don't want to necessarily make it as an interpretation of something else. I want to make it as me.
Yeah, kind of
like a sex icon, basically.
Yeah,
like,
sex symbol.
Yeah.
So take us back. All right. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think your first, you would say gig, if I'm speaking Hollywood, was on a cruise ship.
Yes.
So can you tell us about that experience? Did you have to take the little pills to keep you from getting nausea and stuff like that? So
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually was fine with seasickness, which was great. It was such a weird experience. It's not like, unless you've experienced it, it's so hard to like explain, but it's almost like you're in your own world. You're literally on a cruise ship. You have to pay for Wi-Fi. So it's not like you have unlimited Wi-Fi. You can't just like pick up. Oh yeah. At least you did when I did it.
You're doing them a favor. You provided entertainment.
Oh, listen.
And you had to-
listen, I know. Maybe it's different now, but in 2014, you had to like pay for Wi-Fi. It was discounted, but still. But I couldn't like pick up the phone and call my mom or call whoever. So it's really like you're on this little bubble island with whoever, like the rest of the crew and passengers. But what I did like was that Americans on the ship were the minority. So it was a lot of like people from the UK. There were a lot of people from the Philippines. It was people from all over. So it was a really cool,
very diverse.
Yeah, it was a really cool way to like learn about other cultures and stuff like that. And it was amazing getting to, our route was like, we ported in Miami and we went to St. Martin, St. Thomas, Bahamas. So it was amazing just to get to like be on vacation.
And what was your role? What was the production?
So the production was Legally Blonde, the musical. I played Pilar, which is one of like the lead's two friends. She has two best friends. So I was one of those. We did 2 shows a week, and the rest of the time we just got to like hang out and chill on the ship, which was fun. Got really monotonous. I was on there for 6 months, and when you're almost living the same day, it's like Groundhog's Day. Like you're living the same day over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, I'm ready to like be on land. But also, speaking about like the ship like moving, and something I didn't realize was when you're on stage, the ship is also moving. So like trying to like do pirouettes or anything on a movie, or even like jumping and the floor is lower than what you expected. It's like, oh, that's right. We're moving on a ship. So it was nice. Yeah, now we're not. So it was nice to like, once I got off the ship and booked a show, to be on land and like, oh wow, this is so much easier.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into somebody like, man, I can't wait to get off the ship?
Yeah, me. No, all the time. Yeah, a lot of people. Some people love it. Some people do contract after contract after contract. I enjoyed it for what it was, but that kind of lifestyle was not the one that I wanted. But yeah, after a while, everyone starts to get a little bit restless and like. Okay.
What would you say time frame wise?
Okay, I would say, so I was on there for 6 months. I would say when we had like 6 weeks left was when I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to like get home and like see people. And we were getting closer to the holidays too. It was like near Christmas and stuff. And so I was getting antsy, and I think everyone was just kind of, there was a lot of drama and stuff too. So everyone was just kind of like.
Is it political on the ship?
It probably is now. It wasn't in 2014. Yeah, it really wasn't. It's not so much, again, because I wasn't really dealing with Americans that much, and like people from London, from Australia don't have the same sort of politics, and it wasn't something that was really talked about as much because 2014 Obama was still in office, so it was like it wasn't as big of a thing at that time. And I would be interested to see now. I think I would make a lot more enemies now going back on the ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
How important, in your opinion, is social media? If this is something, entertainment, television, film, theater, singing, dancing, how important do you think it is to put content out there for like people to maybe be attracted to what you're doing and maybe get that recognition, or just actually create like a base?
I think now especially it's very important, just because again, like you yourself as an actor, whether you're an actor or a dancer, whatever, or just a social media influencer, it's really important to create your brand. And a lot of times more with castings, you're seeing people like asking for your follower count or like things like that. So it's definitely helpful. And before, like, I'm thinking like 2012, 2013, it was really, people talked about having a website. It was really important for theater, at least, to like make sure you have your website, because it's an easy way for casting to like go and see everything there. Where now it's more so like, okay, make sure you have some sort of something on social media, because it's so beneficial to A, the production, B, yourself, and then also just in general, if you can create a career off of social media. So if you want something to fall back on, that's always, I don't see, I mean, there are downsides to social media, of course, but as an actor, I see only like positive things in the industry, unless you're posting like crazy stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, I think it's beneficial for sure, just as a presence in general. And so, yeah.
Do you think you're judged on the amount of followers you have when it comes to landing a job?
I don't think you're judged on that, but I think it's definitely something that would help. I think if you went in there with 0 followers opposed to 5 million, I think that would definitely be something that people would be like, okay, you're an asset to this, because if you post about the show, all your followers are going to see this, and like,
All the attention.
yeah, on the business side, I think it's definitely an asset. I don't necessarily, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a casting director, but I don't think you're judged based on it unless it's solely like a social media based thing where like it's only content creators and influencers. Then you're probably being judged based on your follower count. But just in a regular audition, I think it's more so something that's just is helpful.
So you're killing it on TikTok. I saw that. So like, elaborate how you got on that. Like, obviously TikTok had so much controversies and stuff like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
So and then we got to see a couple of your clips, and I was like, okay, I see the whole viral thing.
Yeah. So it was something I started TikTok at the beginning of 2020, and it was I just kind of made an account to like see what was happening.
Who introduced it to you?
I remember seeing an ad on Facebook. I remember,
okay.
I think I downloaded it in like December and then deleted it on my phone. And then I saw another little ad and I was like, okay, universe, like you're telling me to download it. This is it. So I downloaded it and I started just making like the dance ones, just doing whatever. And it was more so I just like liked watching the videos on there. And it was, I'm going to say March or April of 2020, after the pandemic, after the shutdown was like really intense. And I started frequently making more content. But my first viral video was about Hamilton. And it was about, I had read that it was Thomas Jefferson had a mistress who was a very young slave of his at the time. Yeah. And there's a line that references that in the show. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. I bet other people didn't know that. And it's really cool, but also kind of like sad that happened in history. And so I made a video about that and it went really viral. And I was like, oh, okay. This is the lane. This is okay. This is what people want to. So it kind of just started like snowballing after that. And it's been a really cool experience just to be able to like reach that many people. And my most viral video was after the Capitol riot last year. And it was a Hamilton, it was a parody song. I wrote like a parody to my shot from Hamilton and just like wrote my own lyrics. And I was pissed at the time. It was just like all that emotion. I was like how is this still happening? And that one, I think it has like 14 million views or something, but it just like blew up overnight. And I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And it was cool to be like recognized for, obviously I didn't write the melody of this song, but like They were like my own lyrics. And it was just like, it's like cool to be able to reach people that have the same sort of humor or are in the same niche. And I think that's what's cool about TikTok is like, you can literally find any sort of niche ever. Like whether it's the most random Disney Channel, whatever the case may be, it's like there's someone or like a lot of people out there that
somebody looking for something.
Yeah.
So they added the tip button.
Yeah.
How did that work? Like,
I have no idea. That literally just happened because you get paid on, if you like are in the creator fund, you get paid on the amount of views you have. They added a tip thing. So I guess it's like, I just picture like restaurant workers when you tip your workers. So it's like, if you really like you, then you can like add tips and yeah, so that's cool. But yeah, yeah.
Nice. So, okay, music, right? Music is
Yes.
your favorite thing. What is your favorite song?
Right now, my favorite song is Rain on Me by Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande. It's just one of those songs that whenever I'm in a mood or like a bad mood or whatever, if I'm in my feels about something, if I turn on that song, it just like, it gets me back to neutral again. Like I'm like, okay, like I can take it on. It came out a couple of years ago, but I mean, my favorite song in general is probably At Last by Etta James. But right now, like I love Rain on Me. Just like, I don't know. It's a bop. That's what
it takes you to a place.
There.
Isn't that like amazing about music? And that's funny. We were having a discussion with my family last night, how you can hear a song and it just puts you right back in that moment to where you first heard it.
Yeah. It's crazy. I went to an event last week that was a pop punk party, and being there.
Hold on, wait. What is that? Can you explain?
It was literally like being at a middle school dance, but all like people in their 20s and 30s. It was the most fun ever. And it was all just like pop punk, that genre. So it was like Simple Plan, Green Day, like all those bands.
Okay.
Yeah, it was almost like everyone was there and just taken back, and like everyone was just there to like listen to music and have a good time. And it literally, hearing Don't Trust a Hoe brought me back to like 10th grade. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, no, it was like all that music. I was like, what year is it? Like, where am I? It was so fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate, other than like the arts and stuff. I'm passionate about, this is going to sound very cliche, equality. I'm passionate about I'm passionate about spreading a message and spreading awareness about other, I don't want to say other people, but other regarding like race, because of how I grew up. I wish I had the voice. It's almost like I want to spread the message, but also let kids know that it's okay for them to be different. And I want to be able to, just spread awareness that like we all should be, with everything like, I don't know why it's still up for debate that systemic racism doesn't exist and like all of this. It's very evident. So I'm just trying to spread more awareness, and maybe to someone who might not have realized or might not have thought that way, that to like open their minds, just, I guess, open people's minds and to spread positivity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be your vision if you can change anything and influence someone or something, or change something about the way our society is right now today? How would you see it, and what would you want to do?
What would I want to do? I think the entire Constitution needs to be rewritten, but that's not on me. I would love to just see especially like the extreme far right that are so, and even the extreme far left that are so, I would love to see a world where everyone is open-minded, I guess, and not so, because there are times too when I'm set in my ways where I'm like, no, this is how it is, until someone kind of explains it. I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. I would love to see a world where everyone has an open mind and is able to see things from all points of view.
Okay, so I know you don't have a plan B, right? But if you weren't involved in performing arts, what could you see yourself doing?
I could definitely see myself being like a lawyer or like something in the FBI, because I love true crime and I like listen to so many true crime podcasts and stuff. So I'm one of those people that like thinks that I'm an investigator now because I've watched 2 documentaries. But
right.
But I could totally see myself doing something like that.
You can stalk somebody. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. I'm like,
who you going on a date with tonight?
Right.
We're gonna verify
Let
him.
me get the location real quick.
That's so funny. FBI.
yes.
That you can see yourself doing that.
Yeah, I remember watching Miss Congeniality, being like, oh, I could be Sandra Bullock. Like I could do this. I could totally do this.
So to date,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say was the hardest challenge as far as character preparation? A role that you've assumed?
As far as character preparation, I would say the Motown one, just because. So I played Florence Ballard, which is one of the Supremes. She actually she passed away. And also it was a split track. So I played Florence and Suzanne DePass, who is a producer. And I think,
wasn't she involved on Fresh Prince?
Yeah, she's done it, but she was like sister, freshman. Yeah, done a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So that was the hardest to prep for because she was seeing the show. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing you and you're in the audience. And all of these people are so real. And Barry Gordy was involved a lot in Barry.
You just said that like it's nothing.
No, I was like, in case you didn't know.
Like, okay, it's Barry Gordy.
But I didn't know if you know. Some people don't know. Yeah.
Gave me some tips.
Yeah. He told me. He told me.
Hard.
Yeah. Like,
It's wild to think. So Barry, if you don't know, like he started Motown. Like he's the creator of Motown. But it's nerve wracking because he was backstage a ton and like rewriting our lines and being like, no, that's not what happened. Like you have to like. So it was a lot of preparation because it's like these people are still alive and this is about their life. So you want to, be able to perform that to not only impress them but to do them justice. So that was probably the hardest prep wise. Just because I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. There was a lot of pressure put on us as well, but it was not bad pressure, but it was definitely
like, don't mess it up. Like,
yeah,
don't embarrass us or
don't mess up. Yeah, because because all these people are here and you're portraying them, and it's a lot of pressure.
It's funny that you bring up pressure because Nesto and I do deal with this a lot. I believe that at times we can be harder on ourselves than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
We are hard. We are our toughest critics for some. Is that the way it is with you?
Yeah, 100%. I think that I put a lot of pressure on myself. I think that I'm a perfectionist as well. And it's almost like that thing where I give my friends advice all the time, but don't take my own advice. And it's hard. It's something I'm working on, but I have to remind myself that everything happens for a reason, that I'm where I'm supposed to be right now, and that everyone else's journey is going to look different. I used to get wrapped up a lot in what other people were doing or what other people thought about me, or I should be doing this, or I need to. And that's probably, I started to feel really burnt out because I was just working myself so hard. And yeah, it's gotten to a point now, especially over the pandemic, where I was able to just like reevaluate everything and really, take a look at my mental health and everything. But I feel like a lot of people put pressure on themselves as well, but it's hard.
So speaking of that, like, what are some weaknesses that you're struggling with?
You just putting her.
No. It's a lot of things she got going on.
No,
I think it's easy to say. Like, I think that's the hardest part, that a lot of people they're either embarrassed or try to shy away from it. That the fact that sometimes you got to say, hey, I'm depressed, or hey, I feel down, or hey, I need help. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's happens to everybody, right? Or am I the only crazy person here?
No, it's definitely
Okay.
it's
Definitely the only one.
Okay.
Definitely the only one.
Right.
No, I think one of my biggest weaknesses, is making sure I'm on top of my mental health, because it's really easy, especially days where you're feeling down or you're feeling depressed, to not go through the step, to not want to do anything, not go through the steps, and the things that you need to do to make yourself feel better are the things that you don't want to do. So I think one of my biggest things is when I'm feeling down, not wanting to like open the window and get some sunlight, or like actually, like be productive. And that's, I would say
you become a hermit.
Oh, I become a hermit really fast. I'm like, don't talk to me, don't look at me. I just want to be in bed all day. And that's just makes it worse. So it's like,
so what do you do to get yourself up? Like, what is it that kind of that, all right, get up. Enough.
Enough's enough.
Right.
Something that I like to do is go hiking. So like, which is really great to do here in California because it's always sunny out and there's so many trails. But that's something that even if I have nothing to do and there's no reason for me to get out of bed, I'm like, you know what? No, let me go for a hike. It's going to get dark at 4:15 p.m. now. So let me catch this sunlight. But yeah, it's really like I have to consciously think about like, okay, let me make sure I'm doing something, especially during when lockdown first happened and it was like nothing was open. You couldn't leave your house, all of that kind of stuff. So it got really easy to get into the habit of not wanting to do anything or not leaving your house. And so it's just I try and get out of the house at least once a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about this whole depression thing and how you get out of that. You snap back, right? The snap back. So I'm going to flip it up a bit, right? Because I know you like music, right?
Yes.
So you're depressed. It's down.
Mm-hmm.
What song comes on, gets you up? You upbeat, you out of here.
Again, it's either like Rain on Me, Lady Gaga. Also, Get Low, the ba-dum bum bum. When I hear that, game over.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it. You dropping it like it's hot.
Dropping it like it's hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So and in doing so if it's not the music, and you are, I'm sure there's your mom is a big factor in your life, a part of your support system. Is there anyone else that like, you can call on and like they're gonna have some words of wisdom. They're gonna tell me what I need to hear, even if I don't want to hear it, even if it's the truth, because the truth hurts sometimes.
Oh,
and
yes,
you don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So who are you calling?
Yeah, I have a really good support group of friends here, and someone who's really close to me. I know that I can always count on him, like no matter what. Like I literally had a panic attack because I couldn't figure out how to fill up my gas tank at a gas station, and he was like, "Okay,
okay,
I'm trying." It was just like so overwhelming at the time. I was like, "I can't. Why isn't it working?" And he literally
because of the prices.
Yeah. Just my body went into shock. $5. But yeah, like you dropped everything to like come and help me. So it's like that type of he's that type of person where it's really great to I know that I can count on him for anything. Yeah.
Okay, so you would say, all right, so you got a tool bag. You know what I'm saying? Door to explore, right? You got your backpack, right? You're coming from New York, you're coming out here to California. Somebody who wants to mirror or do something that you're exactly doing, what should they have in their backpack to get them through this?
A thick skin. So what should they have in their backpack? Literal things or like figurative things?
But however you want to put it on.
Okay.
This your world.
I would say you would need to have In-N-Out, some like fast food. A lot of my diet is fast food.
Okay.
A thick skin. This is very specific, but for musical theater auditions, you need a book of music. But the book of music should be, for me, is so diverse because whenever I go into an audition, they, for some reason, will most of the time ask me for something that's like completely has nothing to do with that show and is like in just a completely different genre. So like a really diverse book of music, including some like Katy Perry pop songs.
Okay.
Also, yeah, like, Dunkin' Donuts. Love Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. And just the ability to take like, this isn't something you can put in a backpack, but just like the ability to remove your ego self, essentially, or like to not care about other people's opinions, because that's what it really, I think, is what the biggest deterring factor for people is they just get in their heads so much. Is like, I have so many friends that went to school for theater or acting or whatever, and they graduate and they're like, well, I just want to take like one more class before I go to an actual audition. I'm like, no, you just have to rip off the Band-Aid.
The over prep.
Yeah, the over prep, and that's what'll be your demise is when you just overthink everything. Yeah.
Okay. Situational question.
Yes.
Right. So I kind of already know how you're going to go with this. So we're going to say this is based on scheduling.
Okay.
Time, same place, same everything, right? Dua Lipa, right? She contacts you. She's like, you know what, Gabby? I've been following you for so long, and I really want you to come in the studio and help me write my next album. You hang up. You're excited. You're like, girl, right? So get another call. It's Michael B. Jordan. He's like, you know what, Gabby? I want you to be in Rocky 6, 5, 4, whatever it is he's on. Right? You're going to be my leading lady. Creed. Which, I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah. My bad. So which one are you taking?
100% Michael B. Jordan. Not because it's Michael B. Jordan.
Wait a minute. I thought you was all about the music.
Oh, I am. But listen, I like to write music for myself.
Oh, you don't want to share?
I don't mind sharing, but in this scenario, it would be like, okay, you would be on camera and definitely in this movie, or probably no one would ever know you wrote this song. And like Dua Lipa would get like Benny Blanco wrote so many songs of the 2010s, and I'm like just finding that I'm like, you California Girls is you all these things. So the artist always for the most part, I feel like gets a credit a lot of the time. So in this scenario, I would definitely go with like the movie route.
Okay. So if someone is looking at you, right? No, I'm going to say that question. All right. Another question, right? You're on the subway. You just got done with an 8-hour long dance session, right? You walk into the subway, the door opens, it's one seat. You see it's available. But you also see an elderly person looking at that same seat. But your feet, your dogs, they just barking right now. Are you going to be polite and offer the seat to the elderly lady? Or are you going to say, hey, I need this seat. I'm sorry.
Oh, this has definitely happened before. Like, this is a very realistic scenario because I've been in this multiple times. I always give it to the person who, even like pregnant people who, if I see them standing, I'm like, no. Like,
you're not like, it's not my fault you're pregnant?
Yeah, no. Because there's so many people that I see do that, especially like businessmen for whatever reason. I'm like, why? What? Like, yeah, no, I suck it up. I'm like, I'm in my 20s. I'll get over it. Like, I'll just Epsom salt my feet when I get home. It's fine. Yeah.
So what is your what would you say you do for an escape? I know you're into hiking and going out. That means you're an adventurous, outdoor person, nature type of person. But when you want to get away, where are you going and what are you doing?
Well, I love the beach. So normally my getaway places will be somewhere by the beach, whether it be like San Diego, or somewhere close by. I like doing like road trips and stuff like that, especially being on the West Coast, New York. My escape used to be Central Park because that was like the biggest piece of nature in Manhattan. Whereas here, yeah, it's either like hiking or going to the beach or like exploring a new town or Joshua Tree or like somewhere like that is my escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Genie in a bottle, another hypothetical situation. Genie in a bottle, right? Rub it, pop out, bam, it's me. Hey, Gabby, what can I do for you? And I say, well, not what I can do for you, but what I want you to do. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to go back in time, right? And change something, do something different. What part of your life or what decision, what experience would you go back and do something different?
I'm a strong believer of like everything happens for a reason. So I can't necessarily say there's one thing that I would go back and do differently. I think one thing that I would wish I did differently was how I handled growing up, getting bullied. I was very much so just like, okay, don't comply and don't like say anything. It served as a bit of just like a punching bag. And I kind of wish I stood up for myself more and stood up for what was right. Or for myself, essentially. But that and bleaching my hair blonde when I was like 19. I wish I didn't do that.
That's kind of cool though. That is good.
It wasn't fried my hair though. It was, took a while to bounce back from that. But those would be the things that, just to be able to like actually stand up for myself, I think would be how I'm doing now. And how I hope that other kids, that I can be like the voice for them as well, if they don't have the confidence to do that for themselves.
Okay, we strangers in the bar, strangers in the club, right? You in the corner, you doing this. I'm in my corner, I'm doing this, right? What is the biggest misconception about Miss Gabby?
I think the biggest misconception is that I want to talk to strangers. Not saying that. Yeah, that I'm very, I think people mistake a lot of times my friendliness with like flirting, or just be like wanting something more than just like conversation. I think especially like you used like the club analogy, so I'm thinking about that a lot of times. I'm just like,
it's when guys or girls or whatever it be, you looking and you're trying to see if I can go, and like you say, it don't have to be anything but other than conversation. But if you look like she probably gonna bite my head off. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah, I think that might be a big misconception. Another misconception that I've had people tell me is that they thought I was gonna be am I allowed to swear in here?
Yeah, go
ahead. Bitch. They thought I was gonna be a huge bitch just from like my pictures online, and it'd be people that I was in cast with. They've said like, oh well, they got the cast list before and they like Facebooked or like whatever everyone. They were like, yeah, I didn't think I was. I've had multiple people say this to me, like, I didn't think I was gonna like you. Or one of my friends, what's her name? She was like, I thought you were just gonna be like a light skin, like whatever, and thought I was gonna be like nose stuck up in the air. And she was like, no, like you're really chill and like down to earth, and I'm really glad I'm friends with you. So like that's another big misconception that happens that I'm like, yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, why would you be like a person of bad energy, especially when you're doing something that you love? You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to be rude. Like, most people I think are like that way because they're unhappy with what they're doing. So
right.
You're not. So why would you be?
I don't know. Maybe that's what people see as the threat sometimes too, is that especially like the industry that I'm in, it gets very competitive. And so if people, a lot of times women too see other women as competition when we're all like, we're all working together. Like, that's how I see it. I'm like, we're not the same person. We're not the same type. So like, why are we trying to tear each other down? But it's so easy to in that industry when you're comparing yourself to other people, and it's just really easy. It's just like a horrible toxic cycle that people keep living that needs to be broken. But I'm like, yeah.
Okay. GQ Ness, anything you want?
So nowadays, obviously, there's not a lot of common decency, and it's pretty messed up. So, I've heard you mention bowling a lot. So I know it's probably like a tough subject, but obviously, it's something that happens, right? And we want to address it to all the people that are going through that or have kids that are going through that. So if we go back to the whole bowling thing, like, what was your approach on that as far as overcoming it? And not only that, like, did you get like some tactical training, or like you're ready to like chop them right in the neck or something?
I didn't really have any. Honestly, life has kind of been training for that, because it was almost like I went from being bullied in high school to like being bullied in casts. Not as bad as high school, but it's a lot of like microaggressive stuff. What I've learned to do is not to give into it. Like, to not fuel the fire at all, and just be like, okay, I'm sorry you think that about me. That's not the case. And just I find being as direct as possible with how you feel or how you feel about the situation or scenario, being direct about how you view the situation going on, what your actual feelings are about it, and confronting whoever's actually, causing the problem. I find is the most progressive thing to do. That being said, it is really hard to do that sometimes when this person is talking down on you, and it's really easy to just like get back in your hole. But yeah, like I didn't do that ever in high school. And when I got into a professional world, I was just kind of over it. And I was like, no, like, you're wrong. Like, this is what it is. We're all adults. Like, why is this still kind of like happening, sort of thing?
I don't know if you've noticed, like, a lot of people go and just random stuff. They're always saying like, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, or like, oh, sorry. So it's like, I mean, to me, it blows my mind. And it's kind of crazy, because I feel like, I'm a big believer that either you're a sheep or a wolf, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you show that type of weakness right off the bat, like, you have a target in your back, right? So now they're going to think, oh, you sorry? So let me punk this person real quick. So is that an approach? Because I know you said, I'm going to just confront it. Like, you didn't say like, let me punch her and then let me ask questions later. So,
right.
Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm also the person that says sorry a million times. So like, that's something I'm more, especially restaurants and stuff. Yeah. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Can you refill my water? I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry to be asking you to do your job.
Right. I'm sorry. It's something that I definitely need to work on. But yeah, I mean, I have definitely wanted to slap a lot of these people, but it's like the restraint of being like, okay, what is that going to do? It might make me feel better for a second, but like, it's going to cause a lot more harm than good. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten way better with monitoring my words, because I used to just say whatever, and that would that used to not get me into.
Did you have the New York accent too?
Fuck your life. No, I did not. But yeah, I when I get to a point where I'm not like a physically aggressive person, but I will cut you with my words, and I've gotten better at being
low
like,
blows, right?
Oh yeah. So I've gotten better at being like, you know what? I'm not going to go there, but this is what's happening. Just so you're aware, this is what's happening, and I'll do it with a smile on my face. But
you're like, can you hit those high notes? You can't.
You can't. You didn't show up for your entrance on stage. That's why everyone is mad at you. But wow. Yeah. So it's more so, just being an adult about it, and I think that's what a lot of people don't do, or don't take the time to learn, is like how to have tough conversations in a progressive way. So that's what I try to articulate every time I'm in those situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for tuning in today and joining us on this amazing and wonderful conversation. As I do every episode, I always open up the table or the microphone to our guests and to our hosts for leaving any remarks, any closing words that you want to leave the viewers and the listeners with. Today, we're going to start off with GQ Nesto. GQ Nesto, is there anything you would like to share with the listeners or the viewers?
So I definitely learned something new from our guest, Gabriella here. No plan B, YOLO. So I think that's a good way to look at things, because if you really think about it, if you're really passionate, if you have that love, if you have that courage, and there shouldn't be a reason why there should be another option. Obviously your heart tells you something for a reason, so you must commit, and YOLO, right?
Yeah, YOLO.
And Ms. Gabby, anything you would like to share?
Yeah, just I think my final words that I would like to share is just keep staying curious, keep being positive, and also know that you never know what someone else is going through just based on what they look. So always try to be courteous of that, and not, don't judge a book by its cover, sort of thing. Yeah.
Nice. And I don't have any closing words. I think they've said it all. But once again, we would like to thank you for tuning in today. And make sure you following us and subscribing. And we see you guys next time. I'm your boy, Drew. We are Option Forward. We see you guys next time. Peace.